it got a much better rep. It looked so good, had some great matchups, and particularly that CPH Flames games. But anyway, let's hop into this one. Pistol round, ENCE, they're on the CT side.
They most certainly are on the CT side, and as Blair was touching on before, forZe should be treading very lightly because ENCE are the kind of team on this map that can really build up a head of steam, and before you know it, they're 5, 6, 7 rounds in the lead. Some early aggression from ENCE, threw up on middle on the cat. Spinks, who was phenomenal yesterday, is of course the first person to open up his account, break the deadlock, and drop the bomb down as well.
Pretty fitting, as you said. Way ahead of his teammates statistically so far in this tournament is Spinks, and a pretty big revelation considering not many of us had heard of him just a year or so ago. Still playing around this G2 area, Spinks. Looking for jewels, but none for the moment. Snappy flashed out. That's a great piece of team play. 2-man advantage now for ENCE.
Certainly. So, hit and run style, Assassins and Hades is another player that steps up to the plate and delivers. A player that's come under a bit of scrutiny. I think it's safe to say he didn't have the greatest of majors with ENCE. Maybe a player that blows a bit hot and cold. He is in a good position, though, to fend off ENCE as well from the donut, who will be peeking in, decides to try and get aggressive, try and shut down Hades, is successful on that endeavor, but the bomb's been spilled, and the round surely will follow with just 30 seconds. ENCE trying to do his level best to make this as costly as possible. In terms of the round, it's pretty much done.
Yeah, surely. Look at the bomb all the way over towards B, 20 seconds, even a couple frags here just for the kill bonus would be a result, I think, for ENCE. Daicha behind the kind of cube there. But it's not going to matter. Spinks, he makes it 2. And I have to say that kill from Snappy with that player in towards the cubby, that was nasty.
Yeah, it's this flash. I think you said it before.
Yeah, this kill
was on point, right? Yeah, really nice stuff. That was the bomb that went down with him as well. And now forZe, who were unable to get a bomb plant down, unfortunately, only have the one Galil. They'd love to have an AK thrown in, maybe a couple more assault rifles, but they do have 4 Deagles alongside it. So although ENCE off to a good start, this can quickly go pear-shaped. And we've seen so many rounds here, Alan, as well, by the way, where the team that wins the pistol instantly loses and their economy's on the back foot.
Yeah, indeed. It certainly feels like the trend of the last maybe even 6 to 12 months, actually. But Snappy, he's looking to get aggressive, up close to mid, just playing the off angle for the moment. Bomb is waiting on Zorte just outside. forZe, nade starting to rain over. Snappy's going to come under pressure. First frag goes his way, dodges the flash, peeks out again. ENCE next to full, pistols in hand. And Snappy, the in-game leader, reigns supreme.
Oh, he's just absolutely bludgeoned forZe. Again, that force buy yielding absolutely nothing in return, and Snappy was one of the few players that showed exactly what he was capable of doing yesterday on Nuke. Has picked up a 4K. He got an ace yesterday from main. It was pretty ridiculous, all things considered. And what's a bit scary for me right now, Alan, is there's only one fragger on the side of forZe. Yes, it's early days, but only ENCE's got on the scoreboard here. Hopefully that's going to change shortly.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, Snappy, for me, in terms of in-game leaders, is definitely one of the better individual performers. And to see him off to such a flying start here is a little bit concerning. I guess the other aspect is that forZe, for me, are considerably stronger on the CT side of Ancient versus the T side. So to lose out economically here at the beginning could be a pretty big deal. And obviously, looking at the buy here, Vince, just 5 Deagles, no nades. You'd be expecting ENCE to live with a good number of players here and really rack up some cash.
Oh, I'd certainly hope so. From the side of ENCE, a deco, not necessarily something you see too often nowadays. Normally there's a force behind it, bunch of Kevlar thrown in the mix and a bunch of utility. But they have bypassed any of those early casualties, as you just highlighted. Downside, I suppose, if we were being really nitpicky, is it's not really been any of the SMGs, or the lone SMG, I should say, in the hands of Dotto that's got on the kill feed. But that could change right here, right now, because Zorte and ENCE are about to walk into this crossfire. This is looking pretty grim. Surely a 3-0 start for ENCE.
Still a bit of time, so looks like forZe is going to string this one out. No need to push through just yet. Hope for some over-aggression, but ENCE, they're holding firm. Hopefully for our sakes and the viewers, they don't wait all too long. Here they come. ENCE, first of all, Zorte. Bomb is well dropped in front of the doors, so recovering that is going to be near on impossible. Nade as well. There's a little bit of damage. Zorte still trapped in the corner. A kill here would be a huge result, and he can't find that. So 5 alive for ENCE. But with an SMG, a Galil in play, Vince, I feel like we should see a little bit more of an unorthodox strategy here. They shouldn't just sit back and play like normal.
Yeah, you'd think if there's a time to go for a bit of a risky play, a bit of an audacious play, this is it, really, the kind of bonus situation. Tons of cash to fall back on. Snappy at 7.3k. So I don't think they necessarily want to lose players, but if they did, no problem. They can just replenish with an AWP very comfortably indeed, and maybe get Hades into the game that way. forZe, in the meanwhile, though, with their AKs getting aggressive out towards the ramp, but they have been Molotoved out of position. So trying their best to get in towards Cheetah. Spinks, though, in the meanwhile, going for that aggression that we were discussing just before, and there is the reward. A freebie pick onto Norway, and they can back away.
Still, though, it's only Hades on towards A with 4 players grouping up outside for forZe. So if they really get a move on, there could be an opportunity here before those rotates come in. Hades under pressure now, playing around the headshot box, does a lot of damage to Shelfie, but not quite the frag. The molly forces him out. And that's going to leave us in a 4-on-4. forZe are looking much more competitive now.
No doubt, they're taking a lot of damage, though. Zorti's been tanked down to 12. Shalvi not too much better off, and now Zorti's been finished off. Dotto traded, stuck alone, isolated because of the smokes that were put down, but now those smokes have dissipated, dwindled away, and the Israeli Spinks is able to start to get a quick look towards the side, but be careful what you wish for. His eyes closed again from Kenzie's AK, who goes in for more, had no right to get those 2 kills, and although forZe were looking a little bit lackluster and worse for wear, suddenly a 1v3. Snappy has it all to do by himself. Now, the fact the bomb's not been planted just yet means that Snappy doesn't have to force this. He can wait a little bit longer, but there's Kenzie again for his ace.
A wild round from the Russian player, and considering they started that off man down, and with ENCE with all the information, they knew it was the A bomb site, and as you said, once these smokes fade here on the site, it's so difficult to move forward. It felt to me like ENCE were giving away a few too many picks at this point in the round, and we'll clearly look at Kenzie, these frags, ace from the player out of nowhere. Now, the good news is ENCE, plenty of money in the bank, still the AWP on Hades, full investment. So from that respect, not too bad, but certainly from being up in a 5-on-4, they would have wanted to get much more out of that round.
The crazy part is, as well, as Kenzie's still the only player that's got any frags. He's
no
on 7.
way.
Everyone else is on 0. Oh, that's not something you see every day. And they've got a round to their name at least.
Jerry here, he's actually worked his way all the way up to the top of this kind of ramp position. Dotto, though, on the flash, is going to clear him back out. And look at forZe on the minimap. So many loaded up to this B-bomb site. Safe to say all the eggs for the moment are in the B-bomb site basket. ENCE, they've rotated over, so a pretty strong defense for the moment. And forZe are looking to rotate. Spink spots them coming off that catwalk position. Hopefully the rotate can come in, because right now, no players on this A-bomb site for ENCE, and forZe might have just threaded the needle.
Very surprised that Norway got that frag, considering it was a Mac-10 up against the M4, but now Diha from the back stabs 2. Could be a 3rd. And Shalvi's going to go in for that peek, getting tagged up, whittled away from the red room, and it's Dotto that puts the final nail in the coffin. Kenzie, a man possessed. Bloodlust has not been satiated just yet. Wants more frags, but won't be finding any more. ENCE may lose, but they answer in the best possible way.
Certainly felt like mid-round there, forZe were very hesitant. I was so certain after they got this kill in towards window that we might see in a few seconds, that they just accelerate on towards A, thinking that they'd pressured B enough earlier in the round, but it wasn't to be. They turned around, and clearly Kenzie's having a good start to this map, but it's not enough. Half buy going to be coming out from forZe, just some pistols, a couple flashes in play for Norvi, but ENCE, another opportunity to stabilize their economy.
Oh, exactly. That's a good point. This is another golden opportunity to get themselves established and locked in for the CT side, for the bigger picture. But Kenzie, again, man, this guy has been so impressive with his fragging.
Yeah, indeed, and certainly when you look at the names on this team, you would have said Zorte, maybe Shalfie recently, but Kenzie at the moment, he's the one on an absolute tear. 10-4 for the Russian player. Low HP, though, on Norvi and Kenzie, so far from done this round. Dotto coming in through Temple, smoke to block off the cube side. of the bomb site. Dotto finds the first 3-on-3 now, and look how penned in they are, Vince. They're all in towards this cube area.
Yeah, and there's so much utility as well, and they've got kits. This feels like it's a done deal, barring a miracle or a massive overstep from ENCE. Sticking the site now, flashes through. They now at this point know that the remaining players are all lumped in on the donut. Sprayed through there, a lot of damage being put down. There's not much time left. Hades holding the line, bodyguards his teammate. And although Zorti does put 2 frags through the smoke, it's too little too late to salvage the round.
Yeah, an absolute bloodbath there at the end on the B bomb site, as often occurs here on Ancient. For me, it's probably the map more than any in the pool right now that comes down to those very chaotic retake and afterplant situations. And clearly, ENCE at the moment, they're getting the better of them. So full investment now from forZe. That was more of a kind of half buy last time around. So no issues there. zorti, AWP in hand. And if there's anybody who you feel like can join Kenzie in terms of having an impact, surely it's got to be zorti here.
Unfortunately, though, for the Russian team, he has missed out on his chance. It was fleeting. By no means an easy shot, but he did whiff all the same. Hades now had an opportunity for a blink of an eye as a flashbang detonates in his face. And Spinks, who's been involved in a lot of the frags, 94 ADR with 3 assists and 4 frags. He's definitely been no slouch, but he has been smoked off. And that will afford some middle control now across the forZe.
And still leaning 2-on towards B, but Hades, look at the information play. So proactive. He knows there's nobody towards B, and that's even better. That's the cherry on top. Snappy still in towards Cheetah. Peeks out at a great timing. 5-on-3 now. Kenzie looks for the reply, and this round has fallen apart for forZe. Shalfie next to full, and it's just zorti left alone. AWP in hand. It's a nice first shot, but it feels too much. Too much to do. Deitch is not facing. He's getting surrounded. Spinks is coming in from behind. Not sure where to look, and forZe on their map pick, Vince, looking really, really shallow here on the T side.
Yeah, I think this is the problem that they were kind of touching on with the desk as well. The ENCE the kind of team that if you give them an inch, they'll rip away a mile from you. And we're seeing that time after time. Do you know what's just mad and mind-blowing to me is obviously forZe have called tactical timeout. Understandably, they've really been up against it. Actually, we'll hold that thought because we do have a fun fact from Elliot here. zorti is the only non-Fnatic player in the top 4 rated and top dual success. Well, you wouldn't think it from what we've seen so far.
Yes, certainly. And considering forZe in terms of the results themselves have been a little bit up and down, a little bit all over the place. For zorti alone to be finding consistency when the rest of his team is a little bit in flux, very impressive. And also to be kind of going toe-to-toe with some of those Fnatic players who obviously have had very dominant results so far, probably bodes well for this young Russian's future. Anyway, back into the gun round. Double AWP in play. ENCE, they're switching it up.
Love it. Tactical timeout came and gone, and ENCE decide, okay, what's the best possible way that we can really start to constrict this and make it feel very uncomfortable? It wasn't even a force, it was a half by. DreamHack has gone to task with that secondary AWP. Big frag. Spinks now is available, open for business. Spray down and tries to close off the site. It's the sidearm of the Polish player that will put an end to zorti's life, and his woes continue. Though he did pick up a kill in this round, he's going to need to significantly step it up into this next rifle. Norway hasn't really got too many opportunities available to him. Unfortunately, the bomb was lost in all the chaos on that A hit. He has a minute to ponder things and pontificate as to what to do next, but he's going to be sideswiped because behind him is Snappy. And Snappy has been so good so far. Great shot from Norway, though. And that will be a rifle trading hands.
Man, the deagle shots in this game, even though forZe have only had 1 gun round, and really they came off the back of Kenzie, most of their close calls in the other rounds, the deagle shots themselves have been pretty sensational. And honestly, considering the scoreline, they have kept ENCE's money fairly honest so far. And if Norway can find any more here, that'd be a nice bonus. Almost called out there as Hades, but peeking back in, Polish Orca reigns supreme. 7-1 now for ENCE. forZe, surely now, if you've picked into this map, you've got to have something on T side. We need to see some nice strategies, some nice set rounds, because clearly these slower rounds are not working at all. ENCE are winning out so much in the afterplants.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels too top heavy. If you look at the rest of forZe, they only have 60% of ENCE's kills because Jerry and Shalfie are still yet to get off the mark. Only 6 between Norway and Zorte. Now, he does have the up. We know what he's capable of with this gun. Certainly a tantalizing prospect, but Jerry gets winged through the smoke, and Hades pulls the plug out of middle. Again, mid-control, all too easy for ENCE.
As the hashtag goes, it certainly feels like forZe are ceding so much map control to ENCE, and even if this kind of B lane side of the map is in their control, that's just because of the virtue of the map. It's just so much easier to take it on the T side. Now starting to think about mid, but Spinks, he's in towards this cubby. He's in towards the corner. Kenzie looking like he's going to check. Indeed he does, but Spinks still comes out on top, and on such low HP, the trade is quick to be found. And ENCE, they were leading so many players on towards B there. They need to get a move on.
At least he did get a bit of intel, but it is past its expiration date because of a lack of mid control. So they can't fully invest onto the A side of the map. They have to have full confidence in DreamHack, and he has missed his shot. Smoke down, though, to try and plug open that gap, but Zorte does answer back in kind. Dotto closing the gap, but with a smoke down in his eyes, he'll do well to not fall by the wayside. Shalfie's first frag comes into play, and Hades has missed. It's looking good for the Russians to pick up their second.
Yeah, definitely need to save here. Do ENCE a little bit of money in the bank, but keeping that AWP going will do wonders for them economically. So forZe, a much better round, playing together, good trades in towards mid, and then just barreling onto that B-bomb site. And for once, a much more stable afterplant, playing off each other and just letting the simple pieces of team play reign supreme. So a second round is on the board, but it feels to me, Vince, that they still need to be chaining rounds together here and breaking that ENCE economy if they want to get a reasonable half out of this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the next point of call really here, is to get consecutive rounds, get a bit of consistency, break down that CT economy and make it bite-sized. Once you've done that, forZe should have way more opportunities. It's good news that Zorti's actually started to get on the scoreboard here. That AWP has been successful. That's going to be very good. They're sharing a bit of that burden now. It isn't just the Kenzie show. Now a few more supporting cast members, but it can quickly turn, of course, Alan. Like, we're talking this up as though there's a chance for forZe to really start to get back into this. But if ENCE just close the noose here and drop the guillotine, it's going to be back into dire straits.
Certainly, and these rounds have been far from completely convincing for forZe, and Snappy again aggressively in-game leader, 12-4 on the scoreboard. He might be getting towards the older side, Snappy, but he can still punch with the young guns. Mid control now coming out for forZe, so taking a little bit of map control in reply, but no opportunities here. They're so passive, ENCE. They're not looking to give up this man advantage. And Snappy, not called upon just yet. 5-4 then for ENCE, still looking good.
Minimal damage inflicted. They still retain a lot of their utility. They've got 4 splashes, couple smokes, HE. So it's really on forZe now to crack open one of these areas. Could be Cheetah. Have 3 players on that side of middle. Additionally, Kenzie up close on red. And DreamHack playing well to smoke off and HE through. Snappy's going to be called upon. He has been so good so far for ENCE. Doesn't need to kill all of them. As long as he can get a 1 or 2, that could be more than good enough. He's got 1 frag. Now that information can get relayed to the rest of his teammates. He's seen 2 of the last 3 on Cheetah, and they can position accordingly.
Only flashbangs remaining as well for forZe. They will have to frag their way onto this bomb site. Daicha, Diha, whatever you want to say, he finds the kill. Dotto, he smoked this ramp side. He's just playing around that, and with such low time remaining, forZe, it felt like they took a lot of map control there. They potentially played it nicer as a team, but too little time to work with, and that is the final nail in the coffin in this one.
Yeah, time was paramount. It's the importance of Snappy's frag from Cheetah there. Even if he only got 1, it was more than good enough. His second in the round, of course, as we just saw from his perspective, his POV, as he murdered down the oncoming Russians. As he said, older player, 31 years of age. He's IGLing, he's fragging, and he's having a fantastic patch in his career. Certainly a big part as to why ENCE are in the position they're currently in the world rankings.
Good proof as well that all the talk about, losing your reactions in the late 20s is mostly a load of hoo-ha. Snappy again loves playing these off angles in towards Cheetah. So confident just to face, and the flashes, Vince, they are so good. Of course, Snappy's hitting great shots, but it really feels like a team effort here from ENCE, and they are just destroying forZe on this CT side.
Oh, just no respect being shown either. They're peeking from every single angle. Great flashes, though. The procedure's on point. Jerry still yet to get off the mark. What a complete gulf and chasm between the two IGLs. You got Snappy on 16, Jerry on 0. And the way that things have been shaping up strategically and tactically, it's a huge gulf there as well. And Shalfie can only sit back and spawn with a minute to play with and hope and pray that maybe ENCE push into his crosshair. There's absolutely no reason for them to do it either, especially as they have control over the bomb.
Money as well for forZe, back in the bin. Pretty paramount that Shalfie save this over. That will at least allow them to buy into the next round with at least a few rifles in play. But you can see the noose constricting here like a python from ENCE. All 5 of those players, they know exactly where Shalfie has to be. Still a lot of time on the clock as slowly but surely Snappy and Daicha here starting to work their way down. The players as well in from the tunnel on the right. Surely Shalfie can't save this one over. They're going to even run through the smoke, I think, as the time really dwindles here. I think he recognizes the situation, Vince, and he actually ran out there to die before the end of time. So 9-2, money in the bin for forZe.
I nailed it. Yeah, absolutely. We sat there for a while, maybe even treating it as almost a mini tactical timeout. And then once time got low, as you say, the last thing you want to do is die after time and have no money to join the rest of your fellow countrymen to get that buy out. I don't think their economy's great here either, though. I saw a few players down at $3,000. Yeah, Shalfie 3.7, ENCE 3.8. They can scrape together a buy, but it's far from ideal. 5x2. ENCE becomes the first player to get 2 aces at the event, both on Ancient. Well, okay then.
Clearly enjoys the map. I'm not sure many players do, so a bit of an enigma in that sense. But I think the concerning part for me, as you said, on this buy is, even for forZe, when they've been fully invested with all the utility, they've really struggled to get up and onto the bomb sites. And looking at this buy, Kenzie, Shalfie, Jerry, only 2 nades between them. It's going to be so hard to get the map control here and actually push forward towards a bomb site. Mid nades going down for ENCE. That will deny the control. ENCE have been so good this game so far with their utility. A great start on the CT side of Ancient.
They've been so proactive. You know, if you didn't know much about Counter-Strike, you'd be forgiven for thinking that maybe ENCE were the attacking team with how much aggression they've been throwing in the first 10, 15 seconds of each and every single map. Round here, Spinks, great flash, great spray, and a great result. Snappy's gone down elsewhere from Norway, but it doesn't really matter because 3 forZe players have bit the dust. And it feels like a bit of deja vu. 1 step forward, several steps backwards for the T side, and Norway has to push through that smoke. He may get the timing on Dotto, but now his position is compromised, and with him being the last player alive, they can all put their eyes towards his location.
Bomb is well in a near unrecoverable position, and I don't think we're going to see the save attempt like we saw last time around. So 8 to the good, 10-2 for ENCE on their opponent's map pick here. forZe, this time around, there will be no full investment. It's going to have to be the half buy. So I don't know, Vince. I do feel like the team play has been the big part of the CT side for ENCE. The flashbangs alone have been sensational, and I do feel like a lot of the average viewers just look at the frags when really we need to be looking at the team play, and ENCE are a perfect case in point right now.
Oh, they're just looking so formidable at this stage, and although we can kind of throw the caveat in that nuke may not be a foregone conclusion, where the ENCE are playing, the confidence they're accruing here, it just feels an insurmountable difference between the teams. I suppose if I'm being devil's advocate and, you know, trying to put some optimism towards forZe, a lot of the kills are top heavy on Snappy. What happens if he cools off? Do they have the players to step up? Well, Spinks is saying yes, he's just picked up 3, albeit against the half buy of Deagles, a mixed match of weaponry. The bomb spilled down on the site, and ENCE, he showed us what he could do in the first few rounds, but he definitely has slowed down. I feel like he's only got 1 frag in the last 6 or 7 rounds here, and he won't be adding to that mark in this one.
Jerry, though, still to get off the board, and of course, we don't want to harper on them too much because clearly for forZe, it's more of a systemic failure here on the T side, but for Jerry, you can imagine calling under this pressure against elimination on your map pick when it's going wrong is a huge kind of weight in your mind. And that's really going to detract from your individual play. And I feel like that's what we've seen so far here on Ancients. So tough times here for the Russian in-game lead. And they decided really to up the pace here. Caught in the open as well as Hades. I think he's very, very lucky to be getting out of that one with his life. Norvi does get a trade. So 4-4 it's going to be. Utility's starting to go down, but Spinx is on the flank, and the timing, Vince, is unbelievable. Spinx is out of this world.
The timing, but also the spray control was so slick. Jerry with a post plant. Well, he's been playing, don't really fancy him to do a great deal out of this one. He's going to come head-to-head with his opposite number in the form of Snappy. And it's Snappy, as has so often been the case, that has his hand raised in the air as the victor. And to the victor go the spoils, and that'll be a 12th round.
Spinx, though, really feels like he's starting to chime in as well. He's certainly the highest rated player in this tournament for ENCE. And this map so far has been a little different from what it's been so far from Spinx in this event. Buy is coming out from forZe. It's a pretty good buy. It's not perfect, not all the flashes, not all the Molotovs, but certainly versus a few of their buys early on in the half. It's looking a little better. And actually, it feels like, to me, forZe have had a lot more success in terms of getting mid control and then splitting that A bomb site. B has been such a strong lockdown. Dotto, though, he's trying to be proactive, and this time for ENCE, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, strangely enough, only one of the few times we could say that. Typically, they've got that first pick or two. So great news on the side of the T's that they finally got the opening pick, and relatively easily at the cost of 32 HP on Jerry. And now they can start to try and do something with it. However, there is a flank coming round. Spinx from the T spawn is moving into position. Takes the head of Jerry. Can he go any better than this? He's doing a lot of damage to ENCE. Sprays down, drops the bomb, drops Norvi as well. He's doing it all alone. The Israeli is untouchable right now. Up to 19 frags. This round looked good for forZe.
Spinx, man, he certainly saw Snappy all the way up the scoreboard. He said, that's not the way it's going to go. 13-2 for ENCE on the CT side of their opponent's map pick. Can forZe turn it around? We'll find out after this quick break.
I think you know about this story.
I remember it was my first convention hall DreamHack.
It's not every day that a meme is born, but the second day of DreamHack Open Austin 2016 was such a day. The famous streamer Gerard Lazar, better known as Summit1G, played as a stand-in for Professor Chaos on the team Splice. For Splice, the tournament weekend started on a downwards note, with a loss on the first day 16-5 against Luminosity on Train. On the second day, they went up against CLG in the group elimination game. Everything was looking good. Splice had not only reached match point on Train, but Summit1G had pulled off a clutch, leaving him clear to defuse the bomb to take the map. But then, this happened.
And now it's Summit in the 1v1 to try and close this out against Fugly. Fugly playing it aggressively, no, but Summit's gonna clutch it! And Splice will close out map number 1, 16-11. Oh, wait. What happened? Oh, no! Summit! No!
It was crazy because I looked up at the stage and he was celebrating, and then all of a sudden, like, the dread just came in right away, and like all the crowd was like, oh! For that moment, realized we actually lost that round, and then they could lose the match. It was nuts.
In this instance, you could say, okay, everybody, we still have map points, so shake it off and win this. But that didn't happen. Splice lost Train on overtime 1916 and then Dust 2 16-10, meaning they were out of the tournament after 2 straight losses. Summit's unfavourable walk down the B-bomb site was, of course, just one of many lost rounds that led to a quick exit. But the one round people remember the most. In a spooky coincidence, just 4 days prior to the event, Summit 1G had posted on Twitter about his tournament nerves, and legendary Na'Vi IGL Zeus was there with some wise words to comfort and encourage. After the first map loss, Summit 1G tweeted once again. True to his word, we haven't seen Summit 1G in this kind of competition since that fateful day. On the plus side, he leaves behind a fiery reputation in the scene and a fun meme for us all to remember him by. DreamHack Open gave us one more legacy. A pretty fun one, and an important lesson. When you practice your callouts for Train, that's the Summit hotspot.
If you wanna be my love, only gotta take it slow. If you wanna be my love.
Welcome back, boys and girls. ENCE, 11 rounds to the good. forZe's map pick, and they could only find 2 rounds on the T side. Vince, that first half was a little bit disappointing from forZe, but they have to win this pistol, don't they, if they want any chance of running it back?
Oh, it's do or die. It's insert cliche here. Like, they simply have got to hold on to this with both hands. And speaking of both hands, D has got a gun in both of his. And it's going to be the Julies that yield the first frag for ENCE. However, Shelby at the back of the site doing damage, but D has spins around on a swivel and picks up a quick-fire 3K. ENCE have the player advantage, but only for a few moments. Before Kenzie shows his hand, D-Hat is still in with a real opportunity to take this round and make it his, and it's yet another headshot. We could be having another ace on our hands if this goes the way of D-Hat, and it will! Kenzie, the last recipient of bloodshed, and D-Hat picks up his own ace.
Oh, let's all take a breather after that one. It certainly felt like forZe. They'd loaded up 4 on the bomb site there in defense. They were so ready for the B site hit, and Diha here, he just said no. Like a cowboy with the Julies, Akimbo, they were 5 kills, the ace for the Polish player, and that might just be the nail in the coffin. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, it feels like they're just being lowered into the ground at this point for Zat. It's pretty grim. It's pretty grim indeed. Now, they have gone in for a force buy, and they're also stacking the B site. Includes a scout, a bunch of deagles, and Kevlar behind it. Now, if ENCE walk into the trap, there's every chance that maybe forZe can somehow twist this back in their favor. The bomb being down at T-spawn, though, means that they're not going to get to spill the bomb out at the very least. And with a boost up, they know at least 2 players are over on this side. They still have options. Players in Cheetah, Spinks takes off the first head of Zorti. And Jerry's thinking about going down for that peak, but that would be to his downfall, you have to feel. And ENCE are being so patient here, Alan. I'm loving it. They're not rushing into this trap just yet, but perhaps I spoke too soon. But Diha removes the head. Shelby comes straight back with one of his own before Jerry puts an end to Spinks. Bomb dropped down, but still 50 seconds to rotate if they want.
Very chaotic here on B, but look at all the space that Snappy is gaining in towards mid. Jerry, though, he drops the bomb. Dotto is well traded out. For a sliver of a moment there, it felt like ENCE had played the greatest card. Snappy was gaining space on towards A. He knew the site was clear. He's telling his teammates to come over, but those players pushing Banana, that ramp side from forZe, dropped the bomb, and now Snappy alone. 19 seconds remaining. Players spread out so much. First takes contact. Shelfie peeks out, and forZe... Listen, there's a long way to come back in this game, but if there's any narrative where they do it, that's where it begins, full resetting the ENCE economy.
Oh, no doubt. There is a mountain ahead of them, and they've just started to take the first few steps. And nowhere near the precipice just yet. Many more steps need to come thick and fast. However, ENCE will be into a force. Pretty much their entire team were down to $1,400, $1,500. Double eco territory. So a force does come out. from the T's. Include some Deagles, some Tech 9s. The Force Buy wars continue, and forZe are far from safe in this one. Rapid into Cheetah, already pushing towards the site itself, and they have DreamHack at the bottom of ramp with his Deagle, and forZe this time haven't stacked the B site. They're actually a little bit weak here for a little bit, but they're trading those two players across in the form of Shalvi, and additionally Norve could very well make a move in himself.
A little bit scary though, they're actually pushing forward into the arms of these ENCE players, and they're starting to rein in. For the short and long side, that's a really deep smoke. Jerry can actually play behind it. Shalfi's close by as well. But Molly is going to delay a little bit and playing in front of the smoke. I don't think Spinks expected that at all. Dotto running in. You can see he's looking in completely the other direction. So only 3 remaining now. The spams are coming through the smoke as well for good measure. Zorte finds one. A bomb plant might be the only constellation here. So they do find that one, but Snappy left alone. Any frags would be a result at this point, to be honest. Hiding in towards dark. The tap comes in. He's not even going for the spam on the diffuser. So as soon as the actual stick comes out from forZe, that's going to be the round. Shalfi denies Snappy even a frag. So it looks a little bit scary as they were gaining ground, but overall, a formidable defense from forZe.
Yeah, no losses of life either, so it allows them to start to build up that economy. That's definitely a big piece of the puzzle to this comeback. Is even losing 3 or 4 players in some of these rounds could prove to be fatal. So only Kenty's below the $1,000 mark. And ENCE, although Bomb Plant does afford them the luxury of a few more Deagles, it will not be a buy. And no utility behind that either. However, where there's a Deagle, there's certainly a way forward. So forZe need to be careful. Dotto takes that grenade right on the head, drops to 34 HP.
This round already for ENCE is just a game of getting some economic damage in. Surely there's no opportunity here for a round win, but 2 free kills get forZe onto lower money. If you can get them onto Famises, you'll have a much easier time. And keeping Zorte off their AWP for as long as possible will also be very beneficial. Nonetheless, Zorte is going to chime in with the first. No nades to speak of either for ENCE, so only opportunities here are ripping heads with those Deagles. But for the moment, not looking to push out. Zorte playing around with the off angles. Player boosted on the box here and Snappy. For an opportunity, but Zorte says no, finds another, tapping away. It's like a game of DM for him. He hides in the corner, makes it free. And 4, not quite the ace. Spinks denies it. That's a brilliant second Deagle shot, though. Just Jerry on the site. So Jerry, he denies the play of a lifetime. Nice Deagle shots, but whatever goes from here, forZe slowly clawing their way back.
It's a point that you raised before as well, Alan, where you're discussing that the CT side for forZe was actually pretty solid for the most part, and it was really a case of had they left themselves enough wiggle room to get themselves back into this. Pretty impressed so far with their CT side. There's been a couple of slips and slides, but for the most part they've looked pretty solid. The issue here, though, when you're 14-5 behind, is one mistake, one huge moment of brilliance from ENCE, and you're as good as done. There is no more room for error if you're forZe.
ENCE, though, in this round, already dumped so much of their utility for that mid control. 3 smokes, Molotovs as well, of course, using those, let's say, dubious skybox mollies for the international mix. Grouping, though, towards B, forZe, they're starting now to take some information on A. So the rotates could come over, but it looks like a heavy contact play from ENCE. Dotto's peeks up first. Jerry's first to fall. Norvi in towards this long side, peeking into the cubby. Staying alive for the moment. Rotates have arrived. Diha next to fall. Behind the pillar is Hades. He knows where Norvi is. He's pre-firing, but Norvi stays alive. Bomb will be planted, but it's a man advantage here for forZe.
Yeah, and Hades is incredibly low. Plus, Kenty's made moves behind. Sideswiped on Spinks, who's been such a huge part and component of these round wins. Leaves it on Snappy, the other massive part. A talisman, the brains behind the operation, is going to have to become the brawn if he wants to clutch this. Well-placed molly, but they're not defusing behind it. Now they finally go in. Is there enough time for Snappy to close the gap? No, it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because Zorti's AWP on point. Another post plant, will afford ENCE some opportunities and options, but it's yet another round that goes to forZe. They're bridging the gap slowly but surely.
The defenses on these B bomb sites have looked really solid, actually, from forZe, both the round before and this one, where it's not just the initial holding of the bomb site, it's knowing to give ground, fall back, group for the retake, and then put down your utility. You don't want to just, stick around one by one and feed into those key players. So it's been a pretty good showing, but I still feel like we're at kind of a what-if position. They've left themselves so much to do here on the CT side. If they just found 2, 3, maybe more T-side rounds, maybe we'd still be looking at a very competitive game. But this still feels like ENCE's match to lose. They're on the pistols here, so it could be 7, but we've seen many a time these pistols do work. forZe, this is not going to be a cakewalk this round.
There's still threats on the battlefield. Hades with the up and over flash, looking to try and push behind it. Well placed Molotov as well, and a flash on top of it. This set play is affording them a lot of real estate. They're finally going to start to deliver on some of that as well. Hades with 2 on his Desert Eagle, post plant in play, and now Hades has the AK. The unfortunate aspect of this, though, is he's actually the player that has no Kevlar, so he'd rather have that across the Sphinx. But Snappy has an M4A1S in his hands now. So much utility for forZe, though, here. Alan, surely this is doable.
Yeah, and that smoke alone has just isolated both players in towards that dark, that cave area. Snappy, he's repositioned. Sphinx, though, is trapped behind this ramp smoke. Smoke on the bomb. He comes through the smoke to Sphinx to find one, but his teammates falling thick and fast. Kenzie on the stick. Snappy can't connect with the spray. That was on a knife edge, the whole after part, but forZe, they live to fight another round.
I'm just somewhat amazed that they got it done. Yeah, they had tons of utility, but once those smokes were going down, I thought actually it may favor ENCE, that they can play in the chaos, they can play in the shadows, and bring forZe to those deep, murky depths. But to be fair to forZe, and they sank, and then they swam, no problems. Tactical timeout now called again on the side of ENCE. They have a solid purchase coming up, full AKs, full utility. But maybe now it's starting to look over their shoulder a little bit and think, okay, we've had a bit of a rough time of it so far on this T side. Let's just take a breath. forZe picked up Ancient. forZe didn't win an opening duel until round 15. Jeez.
That's almost unbelievable. Think about it, guys. The number of fights that take place during a half of CS, and not one time, with all the randomness, with all the utility, did forZe find an opening pick before the end of the half, and they didn't even win that round anyway. So that alone paints a pretty stark picture of how the first half must have played out. Timeout, though, for ENCE feels like a good time for one, doesn't it? To slow the pace of the game. You don't let them get up to double digits before we've really had to think about this T side. And Hades on the AWP, and immediately he finds the opening pick.
On that AWP and delivers. It's Zorti, the star player, or one of them, on forZe that has been sent packing. Tactical timeout so far, so good. It could be a so what if forZe bounce straight back in here. Hades getting aggressive, peering into the donut area, and gets punished. Shalvi with the AWP puts him down.
Important frag that one feels like, and forZe still with this double player setup in towards Cheetah. It's so good for one, allowing a strong position, a strong place that has to be cleared out, but also the fast flanks and the information. Jerry, he's going to stick around. His teammates kind of baited him in, but Jerry says, I'm going to think better of it. I don't want to stick around and get isolated in this corner. He's going to fall back, but Dotto, he understands the situation. He knows that players are trapped in towards that dark area. He's going to work his way up in towards Banana. He's so close to taking contact, and Norvi spots out Dotto. Bomb though, Vince. That's actually towards A, so a lot of kind of presence shown here from Dotto. It's a bit of a fake.
Oh, a fake, and it's just got a whole lot worse now as Kenzie has been laid to rest. Jerry, in the meanwhile, though, trying his utmost best to keep them into this round. Smoke off onto the CT side, cordons off that area. DreamHack can focus his attention as Sphinx lays in wait. 25 kills, make it 26 to his name. He has been an absolute monster this game. Now, Jerry and Shalfi, can they feasibly justify going for this, knowing how much is at stake? That yes, they can afford a buy, but a couple players are going to be feeling worse for wear. So Shalfi has to pull the plug. Has to get out of there, and that will put ENCE into 8 map points.
Taking a little bit of time for them to find traction here on T side, but Hades opening that one up. Dihar, though, the real man of the hour. 3 kills from him. A lot of the ENCE players really starting to chime in. And actually, you remember earlier on the CT side, it was really snappy, streaky way. It's actually Spinks now who's the lead performer. He's looked so good in this tournament. And here on Ancient, he has properly showed up. A monster showing from the Israeli player.
Oh, forZe sweating bullets now as they force by with 2 MP9s, an AUG, or pardon me, not an AUG, an AWP and 2 M4s. At least before today. Only Spirits have a worse multi-kill rate at this event than ENCE. And I think we know how Spirits tournament went, Alan. They got kind of wrecked by everybody.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, falling 0-16. And that final game, as some do die young. 15-7 is going to be the scoreline. The buy from forZe, as you said, it's not perfect, but it's definitely doable here. 8 rounds in a row required. It's going to be really tricky. ENCE grouping up already towards this B-bomb site, taking a little bit of map control. But Xiaofi, he sniffed out the ruse. He's seen those mid-nades, but he knows they're not going for control, and that feels like a pivotal frag. Dihar winning out over towards A.
Yeah, but the desperation perhaps creeping in. forZe knowing a distinct lack of utility will always put them in second best position. Once the execute comes in, a lack of kits, the same problem falls into place. Zorti, very important frag, and Jerry follows up, and look at the bomb, spilled out, horrible spot, can get smoked off instantly, and suddenly this round spins in forZe's favor.
The only saving grace here for ENCE is the utility. If they slow this down, they've got a minute on the clock, and use those smokes, use those mollies to actually isolate different areas, they have an opportunity here to recover the bomb. Even so, the retakes from forZe on this B-bomb site have looked pretty swift. So even with brilliant utility usage, it's looking most unlikely, but at least give themselves an opportunity. Smoke starting to rain over. Kind of doing a base setup here, actually. 2 players up close in Jerry and Norvi there. Deitch's first to face. He gets traded. 2 more players. Jerry peeks out. Norvi, look at his HP. Only 23 remaining. He still finds a frag. Hades, though, trades straight back. 1-on-1. Map on the line. And Hades delivers. ENCE 1 map to the good. And they looked phenomenal on forZe's map pick of Ancient.